Hey everyone, this is Six Path Weeb, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, we're diving into an exciting fanfic adventure titled, Naruko, the Phantom Clan's Awakening. A quick disclaimer before we begin. The content on this channel is for entertainment and discussion purposes only. I do not own any of the anime footage used in my videos. All rights and credits go to their respective creators and copyright holders. Now, let's jump into it. The hidden leaf won't know what's coming. The hidden leaf village stirred gently as the sun rose behind the distant peaks. Morning dew clung to rooftops, and a soft breeze carried the scent of pine and stone across the training grounds. On the edge of the village, Naruko Uzumaki awoke with a familiar yawn and an energetic spring out of bed. Her blonde hair stuck up in wild tufts, and her oversized orange jacket hung crooked on one shoulder. She didn't mind. There was never time to worry about looks when there was a whole world out there to conquer. Today, however, felt different. As Naruko opened her window to greet the sky, a strange gust of wind rushed in, almost like a whisper. She blinked, leaning out to see if someone had called her name, but the street below was empty. The wind carried a faint hum, like a melody she couldn't place, stirring something unfamiliar deep inside her chest. It passed just as quickly as it came, leaving her room silent except for the rustle of leaves. Shrugging it off, Naruko grabbed her headband and tightened it with a confident grin. All right. Time to show the others what a future Hokage looks like. Her voice echoed down the stairwell as she dashed outside. On her way to the training field, she practiced a few shadow clone hand signs, tripping over her own enthusiasm but laughing it off as she stumbled back to her feet. At the academy, most of the students were already seated when Naruko arrived, and her dramatic entrance, complete with an accidental tumble, was met with a mix of laughter and groans. Iruka-sensei gave her his usual tired smile before announcing that a new student would be joining them. All eyes turned to the classroom door as it slid open slowly. A girl stepped inside, moving with a quiet calm that immediately set her apart. Her hair was long, nearly black but with hints of silver woven through thin braids, and her eyes were the color of storm clouds. She wore a muted gray cloak, fastened with a carved wooden clasp shaped like a crescent moon. No one said a word. Even Naruko, who was usually the first to talk, found herself staring. "This is Riku," Iruka said. "She'll be joining our class from today forward. Please make her feel welcome." Riku gave a polite nod but didn't smile. She walked to an empty desk near the back without glancing at anyone. As the lesson began, Naruko kept glancing back, curious. There was something about Riku's presence that made the hairs on her arms stand up, not in fear exactly, but like her body recognized something her mind didn't. Later during sparring drills, Naruko tried to approach her. "Hey. Riku, right? I'm Naruko. Wanna be partners?" Riku looked at her for a long moment before nodding. "All right." Their match was brief, but surprising. Naruko expected to overpower Riku quickly with her usual whirlwind energy, but Riku moved like mist, quiet, smooth, and hard to hit. Each time Naruko launched a punch or kick, Riku deflected it with minimum effort, almost as if she knew what was coming. After the match, Naruko flopped onto the grass beside the training field. "Whoa. You're strong. Where'd you learn moves like that?" "My clan taught me," Riku replied softly, sitting beside her. Naruko turned her head. "Clan? I thought most clans in Konoha were already known. What's yours?" Riku hesitated. Her eyes flicked toward the horizon. "You wouldn't have heard of it. We're not from here anymore." That answer stuck with Naruko for the rest of the day. Not from here anymore? What did that mean? The Phantom Clan, the name Riku would not speak aloud yet, was a name buried deep in forgotten scrolls. And though Naruko didn't know it yet, meeting Riku was the first thread in a web of ancient secrets about to unravel, secrets that would shake the roots of Konoha itself. As dusk fell, Naruko returned to her apartment, her mind racing. The strange wind from the morning. Riku's mysterious fighting style. And that word that hadn't been spoken, but which she now felt somehow, phantom. Something unseen, unheard, but watching. That night, she dreamed of shadowy figures standing in a circle, chanting in a language older than fire. One of them turned to look at her. Their eyes were silver like Riku's, and in their hand, they held a mask with no face. When Naruko woke, her window was open again. A single leaf lay on her windowsill, glowing faintly in the moonlight. The next morning came quietly, almost too quietly. The usual cawing of birds and bustling street vendors seemed to have been replaced by an uneasy stillness. Naruko sat up in bed, blinking away her dreams. The shadowy circle from her sleep still lingered in her thoughts, especially the mask with no face. She shook her head, ruffled her hair, and climbed out of bed. Just a weird dream, she muttered, tying her headband. Dreams can't mean anything. Right? But as she stepped outside, her foot brushed something soft on the floor. A feather. Black and small, but oddly warm to the touch. It definitely wasn't there the night before. Naruko picked it up, eyebrows furrowing. All right. Now it's getting weird. At the academy, the mood had shifted too. Iruka-sensei greeted the class with his usual warm tone, but even he seemed distracted. Several students were whispering about strange things that had happened overnight, how dogs barked at empty air, how lanterns flickered even with no wind. Some claimed they saw shadows moving across rooftops, even though the moon was full and bright. Riku sat at her desk, silent as always. But when Naruko walked past, the new girl glanced at her. "You saw something last night," Riku said plainly. Naruko stopped, half turning. "How'd you know that?" "Because you're not the only one," Riku replied. She pulled something from her sleeve, a folded paper charm with a spiral pattern etched in crimson ink. "The air's changing. Something's waking up." Naruko stared at the charm. "What is that?" "It's protection," Riku said, tucking it away again. "But not forever." Before Naruko could ask more, Iruka called them to attention. "All right, class, today's a field exercise day. We're heading into the eastern forest for a tracking and concealment drill." Groans came from a few students, but Naruko perked up. "Real mission-style practice?" "Yes." As the students gathered their gear and followed Iruka out toward the forest, Naruko walked beside Riku. "You said something's waking up," she whispered. "What do you mean?" Riku didn't look at her. "The Phantom Clan." Naruko blinked. "That's your clan, right?" "Yes. But we've been asleep for a long time," Riku said softly. "Until now." The forest was thick with mist by the time the class arrived. Even in daylight, the shadows between the trees felt darker than usual. Iruka assigned groups of 3 and gave instructions. Each team would hide, observe, and track another team without being caught. Naruko was paired with Riku and Choji. Not a typical team, but Iruka probably thought Riku would balance Naruko's impulsiveness with calm precision. As they moved deeper into the woods, Riku slowed. "Stay low. Don't speak unless needed." Choji crouched behind a log, nibbling on chips. "Creepy out here. I keep hearing stuff." "It's not the forest making the noise," Riku replied. Naruko tilted her head. "Then what is?" Riku knelt and pressed her palm against the ground. Her fingertips began to glow faintly blue, and the air around them seemed to still. "There," she said, pointing toward a mossy slope. Naruko followed her gaze. At first, she saw nothing. But then a flicker of movement, like a shimmer in the air, and then it was gone. "What was that?" Naruko whispered, heart pounding. "They're watching us," Riku said. "They've been watching since I arrived." Before Naruko could respond, a distant scream pierced the forest. It wasn't a student. Iruka's voice echoed seconds later. "Everyone, back to the main clearing, now." Naruko grabbed Choji's sleeve and ran. Riku didn't move at first, just stared into the trees. When she did turn, she whispered, "They're ahead of schedule." Back in the clearing, students were huddled, whispering nervously. Iruka counted heads quickly, then turned toward the woods. "We're leaving early," he announced. "We're not alone out here." Naruko's breath caught in her throat. But as they began their retreat, the mist thickened suddenly, swallowing sound and distance. Trees blurred, the ground turned uneven. Even Iruka looked confused. "We're being separated," Riku said. "They're pulling us into a pocket space." Naruko grabbed her kunai. "Who's they?" "The remnants," Riku replied. "Scouts of the Phantom Clan. Testing if the seal's weak enough to break." Before Naruko could ask more, the mist parted, and standing in front of them was a figure wearing a mask just like the one from her dream. No face. Just blank wood and 2 silver eyes behind it. The figure raised a hand, and the wind itself seemed to bend. Choji yelped and ducked behind a tree. Riku stepped forward, standing between Naruko and the masked figure. "You're early," Riku said. "Too early. The sealed sleep isn't over yet." The figure's voice was like wind through dry leaves. "The sealed sleep ends when the air calls." "I haven't called," Riku said. "But the host has," the figure whispered, looking past her, directly at Naruko. Naruko's chest tightened. "Me?" Riku turned slowly. "You felt the pull. The whisper. That wasn't by accident." The masked figure lowered their hand. The host awakens the seal. The seal awakens the shadows. Riku's hand shot out, and paper charms erupted from her sleeve like a volley of throwing stars. They struck the mist and lit up, exploding in a sudden burst of wind and light. "Run!" Riku shouted. Naruko didn't hesitate. She grabbed Choji's arm and took off, trees whipping past. The fog seemed to recoil, pulling back just enough to show the path. Riku caught up moments later, her cloak torn but her eyes steady. Back at the village, the group regrouped with Iruka and the others. Most had been caught in harmless illusions, but a few had minor injuries. Iruka couldn't explain what happened, and the village elders passed it off as a training mishap. But Naruko knew better. That night, she sat at her window again, the feather from the morning on her desk beside her. Riku's words echoed in her ears. The seal awakens the shadows. And in her dreams, the circle of masked figures returned, this time, chanting her name. The next few days passed slowly, but the tension in the air didn't fade. Naruko found it harder to focus in class, and even harder to sleep at night. The dreams had grown more vivid. In them, she now stood at the center of the masked circle. They never spoke clearly, just fragments, chants, and whispers. But the word she kept hearing again and again was, "Awaken." She didn't know what it meant. At the academy, things had gone back to normal on the surface. No one mentioned the incident in the woods, and Iruka-sensei made no comments beyond a quick check-in with the students. But Naruko noticed something. Riku was watching her more closely. Not in a mean way, more like she was waiting for something. During lunch break, Naruko found her chance. She climbed up onto the academy rooftop with 2 rice balls stuffed in her pockets and found Riku already there, sitting cross-legged and sketching something in a small, worn notebook. "Hey," Naruko said, handing her a rice ball. "You don't eat much. You'll turn into mist if you're not careful." Riku looked up, blinked once, then took the rice ball silently. Naruko sat beside her. "So, about all that stuff in the forest. You still think those masked weirdos were from your clan?" "They were," Riku said. "Or, what's left of them?" Naruko tilted her head. "What happened to them? Why do they wear those masks?" Riku was quiet for a long time. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. "They wear the masks because they gave up their names. In the old days, names had power. So when my ancestors sealed away our clan's power, they sealed their names too. Only the ones who stayed behind kept theirs. Like me." "Wait, you're saying your clan sealed themselves away?" Riku nodded. "To stop the corruption. Something ancient poisoned our bloodline. The more power we used, the more we lost ourselves. So our leaders built a spirit lock, a great seal, and buried the clan in it. I was born just outside of it. My parents kept the knowledge alive. Waiting for the next sign." Naruko blinked. "The sign? Is me?" Riku didn't answer right away. Instead, she pulled a small scroll from her cloak and unrolled it between them. On the parchment was a swirling seal, a spiral almost identical to the one on Naruko's belly. "That's the same as..." "Yes," Riku said. "The seal of the Phantom Gate. And the spiral of the Uzumaki." Naruko's voice dropped. "You think I'm part of your clan?" "No," Riku said. "But I think your blood carries an echo. And something inside you woke the gate." Naruko sat back, stunned. "I'm just me. I mean, yeah, I've got the 9 tails and all, but that doesn't mean..." "It does," Riku said. "Because it's not just the fox that sleeps in you. The Phantom Gate is drawn to ancient energy. It saw you. And now, so do they." Naruko's heart pounded. It was all too much. Sealed clans? Phantom energy? Echoes in her blood? She stood up fast, fists clenched. "I don't want to be part of some creepy mystery clan. I just want to be a ninja, become Hokage, and protect the village." Riku looked up at her. "Then you'll need to understand what you're protecting it from." That night, Naruko didn't sleep. Instead, she stood in front of her mirror, hands shaking, and unzipped her jacket. The spiral seal on her stomach pulsed faintly, almost like a heartbeat. She placed her fingers over it. There was warmth, power, and fear. She stared at herself in the glass. Who am I really? As the moonlight passed over the window, her reflection shimmered for just a second. And in the mirror, behind her, stood a masked figure. She spun around, but the room was empty. Elsewhere, far beyond the walls of the village, a group of cloaked figures gathered around a circle of standing stones. Their leader stepped forward, his mask carved not from wood, but from polished obsidian. She has awakened, he said. The heir's link to the host is complete. Around him, the others knelt. The seal will fracture soon, another rasped. And the veil between our world and theirs will weaken. The obsidian masked leader turned toward the dark forest. Then we must prepare. The spirit lock must open, and the final vessel must choose her path. Back in Konoha, Riku began training Naruko in secret. They met outside the village walls, beyond the watchful eyes of the Anbu. Riku taught her to feel the flow of energy in the earth, to listen to silence, to move like shadow. Your chakra is strong, but wild, Riku said, guiding Naruko's hand as they formed a strange seal together. You must learn not to just use your power, but to speak to it. Speak to it? Naruko raised an eyebrow. Like? Talk to my chakra? Yes, Riku said, holding up a thin paper tag. The spirits that sealed the Phantom clan weren't mindless. They were guardians. Some still listen. She placed the tag on a nearby stone, then whispered a few words in a forgotten tongue. The tag glowed blue, and then disappeared into the rock. Naruko stepped back. That was cool. Creepy. But cool. Riku gave her the faintest smile. You're learning. But their lessons didn't go unnoticed. Hidden in the trees, a shadow moved. Eyes watched. And somewhere beneath Konoha, a crack began to form in a stone wall that had not shifted in hundreds of years. Training with Riku became a daily ritual. Each day after academy classes, Naruko would sneak out through the back gate of the village and meet her near an ancient tree on the edge of a forgotten shrine. The shrine itself was little more than crumbled stone and moss now, but Riku always bowed before stepping into the circle of its ruin. You sure this place is safe? Naruko asked one evening, squinting at the cracked pillars. It's not about safety, Riku replied. It's about respect. The seals etched into these stones are older than Konoha. They were drawn by my ancestors to keep the Phantom Gate locked. If you insult this place, it may not protect you next time. Naruko rolled her eyes. Right. Respect the spooky ghost tree. Got it. But despite her jokes, something inside her had shifted. She no longer doubted the dreams, or the visions, or even Riku's strange powers. Something deep inside her, not just the 9 tails, stirred whenever they trained, like an old drum beating louder with each passing day. That evening, Riku introduced a new exercise. Today, we call the Phantom Flame. Naruko raised an eyebrow. The what flame? Not real fire, Riku clarified. It's a flame of memory. You reach inside and draw out a thread of the past, or your ancestors. But it must be done carefully. The wrong memory can consume you. Naruko looked skeptical. Okay, so it's not fire. It just burns your soul if you mess up. Great. Riku offered her a paper charm, then stepped back. You'll need to focus. Picture a memory you don't understand. Something that haunts you. Let it rise. Naruko took a deep breath, held the tag in both hands, and closed her eyes. Her thoughts flickered, her lonely childhood, the looks people gave her, the pain of not knowing her parents, and then, suddenly, a memory she didn't remember ever having. She was very young, maybe 3 or 4. A woman stood over her, face hidden in golden light. She was singing. Not words, just a melody. The same melody she'd heard on the wind that first morning. The tag in Naruko's hand lit up. Riku's eyes widened. Let go, Naruko. But she didn't. She held the tag tighter, and the vision deepened. She saw the woman clearly now. Her hair was red like fire. Her eyes were full of tears. You are more than you know, the woman whispered. The clan is not gone. The gate is not locked. Not forever. And then it was gone. Naruko gasped, dropping the charm. It hit the stone and burst into soft blue embers. She staggered backward, holding her chest. That woman. I think I saw my mom. Riku nodded slowly. You touched a thread from your blood. The phantom flame doesn't lie. But what was that she said? The clan isn't gone? It means the seal is failing faster than we thought, Riku said. And you're the key. Naruko didn't know what to say. She sat on the ground, her legs trembling. She wasn't afraid, not really. But the weight of it all was growing heavier. She had always wanted to be special. But this was something else. Suddenly, the wind shifted. Cold and sharp. Riku's eyes darted toward the trees. We're not alone. A low hum filled the air, and the temperature dropped several degrees. Mist rolled over the mossy stones. From within the forest, 3 masked figures emerged, different from before. Their masks were chipped and jagged, and they moved with jerky, unnatural steps. Echo shades, Riku whispered. Fragments of sealed souls. They must have slipped through the cracks. Naruko leapt to her feet, chakra flaring. What do we do? Riku slid a charm into each hand. They're not alive. Don't hold back. The shades charged. Naruko ducked the first one's swipe and leapt over a fallen pillar, hurling a kunai charged with chakra. It struck one in the chest and exploded, but the creature kept coming, smoke rising from its mask. Riku leapt gracefully, landing behind the second. She slapped a charm onto its back, and it froze in place as the tag glowed bright and then shattered. The mask cracked and fell. They don't feel pain, Riku warned. You have to disrupt their energy. Break the connection. Naruko nodded and formed a hand sign. Shadow Clone Jutsu. 2 copies appeared and charged at the remaining shade. One was swatted aside immediately, but the second clone jumped high and delivered a spinning kick. Naruko followed up with a blast of wind-style chakra, finally knocking the mask loose. The creature vanished into mist. The last one tried to retreat, but Riku summoned a circle of glowing ink beneath it. It twisted in agony before vanishing into sparks. Silence returned. Naruko wiped her brow. That was intense. Riku didn't smile. It'll only get worse from here. Dash. Meanwhile, underground, deep beneath the village, the stone wall cracked again, and a faint glow leaked through. An old man in a tattered robe stood nearby, a jagged mask in his hands. The gate opens, he rasped. And the air has begun to remember. Behind him, dozens of sealed coffins lined the walls of a massive cavern. A pulse of dark chakra echoed through the space like a heartbeat. Dash. Back at her apartment, Naruko sat quietly for once. The rice she made was cold, and her scrolls were untouched. The vision of her mother, if that's really who it was, echoed through her mind. The gate is not locked. Not forever. She remembered the way Riku looked at her now. Not just as a friend, or even a teammate, but as someone chosen. As someone standing between 2 worlds. She pulled her blanket tighter and looked out the window. The moon was full again. And in the reflection on the glass, for just a moment, she saw silver eyes. 3 days after the fight with the Echo Shades, Riku called Naruko to the shrine again, but this time, there was no training scroll, no battle stance, and no charm paper waiting. Instead, Riku sat in the center of the shrine with a lit lantern beside her. Its flame flickered in strange patterns, blue and violet dancing together like twin spirits. The air was different too, heavier. Like the space between thunder and lightning. Riku gestured for Naruko to sit. Today, you don't fight. You listen. Naruko raised an eyebrow but obeyed. To what? To the past. Riku reached into her sleeve and pulled out a small black stone. It pulsed faintly in her hand, and when she placed it between them, the temperature dropped instantly. This is a memory stone, she said. It's one of the last remaining from the Phantom Clan's archives. It holds a vision, from the final days of our fall. Naruko leaned forward. You're going to show me what happened? Riku nodded. Not just show. Let you feel it. But I have to warn you, once we enter, you'll see things from the eyes of someone long gone. You may even feel what they felt. Are you ready? Naruko hesitated for just a second, then nodded. Let's do it. Riku placed her hand on the stone and whispered a chant in the old tongue. The world around Naruko dissolved. Dash. The past, 82 years ago. The sky was crimson. The mountaintop temple of the Phantom Clan stood in ruins. Stone statues of faceless monks lay cracked in the dust. Fire burned in the distance. Naruko blinked, but she wasn't Naruko anymore. She was inside the body of someone else. A young woman with long black hair, cloaked in a silver and indigo robe marked with the spiral crest. Her name came unbidden, Ayame of the Flame Circle. She stood with 2 others, both wearing masks, the Council of Shadows. There is no more time, one said. The devouring is spreading. Ayame clenched her fists. So we just seal ourselves away? Run? Another elder stepped forward, taller, with a long jade staff. Not run. Contain. If even one of us escapes corrupted, the other villages will burn. But we haven't even mastered the spirit lock, Ayame said. The gate isn't ready. The elder raised his hand. It will have to be. Lightning cracked in the distance. Below the mountain, an army of twisted chakra beasts rose from the shadows, drawn from corrupted phantom techniques gone out of control, the result of channeling too much ancestral power through unworthy hosts. Ayame stared at the horror, tears forming in her eyes. We were supposed to be protectors, she whispered. How did it come to this? The elder looked toward the sky. We forgot balance. We reached too far. Dash. The vision deepens. Naruko suddenly found herself walking alone through the ruins, no longer Ayame, but herself again. The stones whispered to her. Echoes of chants and cries rang between the broken walls. Suddenly, she saw her, Ayame, standing before the spirit lock, a massive seal carved into a circular stone door, etched with spirals and wings. Blue flames danced around its edge. Ayame looked back. You carry our echo, she said. You are not of us. But the gate listens to you. Naruko stepped closer. What happened to you? We sealed the worst of us inside, Ayame said. But the lock was flawed. Every few generations, it leaks, only a little. But over time, it's enough. Enough for the darkness to whisper again. To find a vessel. Naruko's breath caught. Me. Ayame nodded. You are light and shadow. Fox and flame. You can contain it. Or break it wide open. Why me? Naruko asked. I never asked for this. Ayame gave a sad smile. Neither did we. The vision faded, and Naruko snapped back into her body, gasping. The memory stone crumbled into ash. Riku steadied her. You saw it? Naruko nodded. They sealed themselves to stop something worse. But now it's coming back. Through me. Dash. The Phantom Codex. After the vision, Riku brought Naruko to a hidden chamber beneath the shrine. A trapdoor opened into a stone corridor lined with forgotten scrolls and relics. Dust and time hung thick in the air. This is the Phantom Codex, Riku said. What little remains? Naruko ran her hand along a shelf. Some scrolls were brittle, others bound in black string. One in particular caught her eye, wrapped in red silk, its end sealed with wax. What's this one? Riku hesitated. That is the Bloodpage Chronicle. Written by the last guardian before the lock. It's forbidden to open unless the gate shows signs of breaking. Naruko reached for it. Riku didn't stop her. As Naruko broke the seal, a pulse of chakra surged through the chamber. The wax burned away. The scroll unrolled on its own, revealing a spiral map of the elemental nations, with a dark mark pulsing near Konoha. The text read. When the gate cracks thrice and the host stirs, the flame shall seek the blood of the fox. Only then will the balance choose. Naruko stepped back. The seal's breaking now, isn't it? Riku nodded. One crack has formed. The second is close. And the third? Riku's expression darkened. That depends on you. Dash. Meanwhile, in the shadows. The obsidian masked leader knelt before an ancient brazier, now lit with black fire. The host remembers. The gate breathes. Begin the awakening of the forgotten circle. Behind him, 6 cloaked warriors knelt. Their masks bore different elements: fire, wind, stone, water, shadow, and blood. They will resist, one growled. Let them, the leader said. For only the strong can inherit the phantom flame. Dash. Naruko's decision. That night, Naruko stood at the edge of the Hokage monument, wind in her hair. She stared at the village below. Her village. The people who once feared her. The friends she'd made. The ones who still didn't understand her. A piece of her wanted to walk away. Hide. Pretend she never saw the spirits, never touched the memory stone. But another part, the part that had faced bullies, fought for attention, and promised to become Hokage, refused to back down. I'm not afraid, she said aloud. Whatever this phantom thing is, I'm not running. I'm going to face it. And I'm going to protect this village. Like I always said I would. From behind a tree, Riku stepped forward, silently. Naruko turned. So, what do we do next? Riku didn't smile. But her eyes were calm. We prepare. Because the second crack will come soon. The Hokage's summons. The next morning, Naruko was halfway through her third bowl of miso ramen when the door to Ichiraku slid open, and a calm, unmistakable voice spoke behind her. Come with me, Naruko. The Hokage has requested you. Naruko turned, still chewing a mouthful of noodles. Standing there, arms in his pockets and the breeze ruffling his silver hair, was Kakashi Hatake. Wait, what? Why me? She asked, swallowing too fast and coughing. Don't worry, Kakashi said, smiling. You're not in trouble. Yet. That didn't help much. Minutes later, they were walking side by side through the halls of the Hokage Tower. Kakashi remained quiet, but Naruko could tell from the way his eye flicked toward her every so often that he knew something. Maybe not everything. But enough. Finally, they entered the Hokage's office. Tsunade stood at her desk, arms folded, Shizune beside her scribbling notes. A mission scroll lay open. Uzumaki, Tsunade said. Good. You're here. You and Hatake-san have a new assignment. Naruko blinked. Wait, you're pairing me with Kakashi-sensei? Just us? Not exactly, Tsunade replied. This is a 3-man cell. We're reinstating an older format for this mission. You'll be joined by a temporary operative with a specialization in spiritual tracking. Riku stepped from the shadows of the room. Naruko blinked. You? Tsunade didn't smile. Your friend has been quietly monitored for some time. Riku of the Phantom Remnants has agreed to cooperate. Her insight may prevent something. Worse. Worse than what? Naruko asked. Kakashi spoke. A village near the hills of Shiba went dark 3 days ago. No messages. No survivors. The last scout we sent stopped responding 6 hours after arrival. Naruko's mouth went dry. Tsunade handed over the scroll. You leave at dawn. Your objective is reconnaissance, not combat, but if the source of the disturbance is confirmed to be connected to the gate, destroy it. Naruko looked at Riku. Is it connected? Riku didn't blink. I've seen the hills. There's a shrine under them. Older than any on record. Tsunade's voice hardened. Do not engage unless absolutely necessary. That area is unstable. And Naruko, if you feel anything strange, you report it. Understood? Naruko nodded. Yes, ma'am. Journey into the hills. The team departed early the next morning under light fog. Kakashi led with quiet efficiency, Riku took the rear, and Naruko bounced between trying to make conversation and internally panicking. So, Naruko said during their first break, do you two just always talk in riddles, or is that, like, a phantom thing? Kakashi chuckled behind his mask. Riku didn't answer. By noon the next day, they reached the outer edge of the hills of Shiba. The grass here grew sparse and yellowed, and the trees leaned at strange angles, as if pulled toward an unseen center. The air smelled faintly of ozone, and something else. Do you feel that? Riku asked. Naruko frowned. Yeah. It's like my chakras buzzing. Like it's being pulled. Same for me, Riku said. We're close. Kakashi knelt and ran a gloved hand through the soil. It's laced with residual chakra, not recent, but not ancient either. Something's disturbed this place. Naruko approached a crooked shrine stone and touched it. In that instant, a rush of visions hit her, blood in the soil, masked figures in chains, an underground door sealed with burning symbols. She staggered. Riku caught her. You saw it? Naruko nodded slowly. There's a door under us. And it's waking up. The shrine beneath. They spent the next few hours searching the hills. Finally, as twilight bled across the sky, Kakashi's nin dog, Pakun, led them to a stone slab half buried in weeds. This is it, Riku said. The root shrine. Kakashi placed a tag on the stone and channeled chakra into it. The ground trembled, and the slab split open, revealing a stairwell descending into darkness. They lit torches and descended. The air grew colder with every step. Symbols from a long-lost script lined the walls. Some glowed faintly, others pulsed as they passed. This place is alive, Naruko whispered. It's watching, Riku replied. They reached a wide chamber, its center dominated by an altar shaped like a spiral disc. Around it stood 6 empty pillars. This is the mirror hall, Riku said softly. Where the phantom flame was once split and sealed into 6 guardians. Kakashi approached the altar. But the seals are empty now. Suddenly, a low rumble echoed through the stone. The far wall cracked open. From the shadows emerged 3 figures, twisted versions of shinobi, each half covered in burned robes and fragmenting masks. Their chakra was warped, pulsing like black oil. Kakashi drew a kunai. Get ready. Riku unfurled a scroll. These are gate revenants, failures of the old clan, rejected by the lock but too strong to fully destroy. Naruko stepped forward. Then let's show them what a real ninja can do. The Battle of the Mirror Hall. The first revenant attacked with explosive speed, hurling spears of corrupted chakra. Naruko jumped left and countered with a wind-style Rasengan, slamming into its shoulder. It shrieked, but didn't fall. Riku used spirit tags to bind the second one, her movements fluid and precise. She recited a mantra in the old tongue, and the revenant froze momentarily, enough for Kakashi to strike with a precise lightning blade. But the third creature, larger than the others, smashed into the altar and shattered part of the floor. The earth groaned. Something beneath the altar stirred. Naruko felt it, the pulse of ancient energy, deeper even than the nine tails. The gate was beneath them. The final lock. The creature lunged at her, but before it could reach, Naruko's seal glowed. A spiral of golden light erupted from her, halting the revenant midair. Her voice echoed, layered with something older. "You are not welcome." With a blast of chakra, the revenant was torn apart. Silence followed. Kakashi stared at her. "That was. I didn't do it on purpose," Naruko said, panting. "It just came out." Riku approached the shattered altar. "You touched the flame." Naruko looked at her hands. "I felt like someone else was speaking through me." "You're connecting to the last guardian," Riku said. "To Ayame." Suddenly, the altar began to descend, revealing a narrow staircase. The seal was open. Kakashi held up a hand. "We're not ready for what's down there. We gather information. Then we leave." Naruko nodded. But part of her, the part connected to the gate, wanted to go deeper. Return to the village. They made camp briefly outside the shrine, sealing the entrance again behind them. Naruko sat beside the fire, quiet. Kakashi brewed tea. Riku meditated. "Sensei," Naruko asked suddenly. "You've seen a lot, right? Crazy stuff?" Kakashi nodded slowly. "I've seen too much." Naruko stared at the stars. "Do you think I'm dangerous?" He looked at her for a long moment. "I think," he said finally, "you're dangerous the way fire is. But fire lights the way. Warms people. Protects them. Or burns things down," she said. "That's why you learn to control it." Naruko nodded quietly. Mission report, delivered. Back in the Hokage's office, Tsunade listened intently as Kakashi and Naruko detailed everything, the revenants, the mirror hall, the altar, the gate. She leaned back afterward, frowning. "The fact that it reacted to Naruko's chakra is concerning," she said. "More than I expected." Kakashi nodded. "I recommend a watch post be built near the hills. Low profile. Disguised as an archaeological site." "Approved," Tsunade said. Then, turning to Naruko, "You've stepped into something ancient. We'll give you what protection we can, but this fight may be yours alone in the end." Naruko didn't flinch. "I'll handle it. I'm not afraid anymore." The calm before the storm. Days passed since the mission to the hills of Shiba. The village resumed its usual rhythm, children training in the academy, merchants hawking their goods, and the Hokage's tower looming watchfully over it all. But for Naruko, nothing felt normal anymore. The energy she'd felt deep in the shrine echoed in her mind, tugging at her chakra like a distant pulse. Riku had returned to the shrine to guard the sealed gate, and Kakashi had resumed his duties, but Naruko found herself restless. She sat alone on the Hokage monument at sunset, the wind cooling the sweat on her brow. Her chakra seal, the glowing spiral on her palm, was faint but present. "I have to know more," she whispered to herself. Suddenly, the air shifted, and a familiar voice spoke from behind. "You're right," Riku said softly, stepping into the fading light. Naruko stood. "I can't just wait. The gate's power, it's in me. I need to control it before it controls me." Riku nodded. "Then we begin." Training in the spirit realm. Riku led Naruko to the shrine, and after lighting incense, she opened an ancient scroll. "This is a gateway, not just of stone, but of spirit," Riku explained. "To unlock your true power, you must journey within." Naruko's eyes widened. "You mean, enter the spirit realm?" Riku smiled faintly. "Exactly. But beware, the spirit realm is a mirror of your soul. It can nurture or destroy." With Riku's guidance, Naruko began the ritual. She focused her chakra on the seal, chanting the words etched in the blood page chronicle. The world shimmered and faded. When Naruko opened her eyes, she stood in a realm of swirling mist and faintly glowing spirits, ancient Phantom Clan warriors, their faces hidden behind masks of light and shadow. Naruko felt their eyes on her. "You carry our blood," one whispered, a voice like wind through leaves. "Show us the flame." Naruko raised her hand. The spiral on her palm flared, sending a wave of golden blue light through the mist. The spirits nodded in approval, then guided her deeper. The trial of the 6 flames. The spirits led Naruko to 6 pillars of light, each representing a phantom element: flame, wind, shadow, water, stone, and blood. To unlock the gate's power, you must master each flame within yourself, Riku's voice echoed, though Riku was nowhere to be seen. Balance them, or be consumed. Naruko stepped to the first pillar, flame. As she touched it, she was engulfed in heat and memories of her ancestors' fiery battles. Her chakra flared, and she learned to shape it into a swirling fox-shaped flame, a new technique blending her clan's power with her own wind-style Rasengan. Next, the wind pillar. It pulled her forward with a rushing gust, and she felt her chakra become light and swift. She practiced weaving through currents of air, gaining speed and agility she'd never had before. The shadow pillar challenged her with darkness, forcing her to confront fears and doubts she'd buried deep inside. With effort, Naruko embraced the shadows, turning them into a cloak that could hide her presence. Water tested her patience and adaptability, as the currents shifted unpredictably. She learned to flow, to soften and redirect attacks. Stone grounded her, teaching endurance and strength. She summoned an earth shield, solid and immovable. Finally, the blood pillar pulsed with the deepest power of the Phantom clan, their spiritual lineage. It linked her to Ayame and all who had sealed the gate. The pain of loss and hope surged through her, but so did determination. As she mastered the last flame, the 6 pillars merged into one blazing spiral, the true Phantom flame. Awakening the Phantom flame. Naruko's body glowed with newfound energy. The spiral on her palm burned bright, and when she focused, it expanded into a radiant fox-shaped aura enveloping her. Your power is no longer a secret, Riku said, appearing beside her. But be warned, those who covet the gate will come for you. Suddenly, the spirit realm trembled. A shadowy figure stepped forward, a revenant from the Phantom Circle, more powerful and terrifying than before. You think you can wield the gate's power? It hissed. I am the guardian of the forgotten flame. Surrender or be consumed. Naruko braced herself. I won't let you. The battle began, a clash of light and shadow, fire and darkness. Naruko summoned her new flame techniques, weaving through attacks and striking with precision. The Revenant's power was overwhelming, but Naruko's spirit burned brighter. With a final surge, she unleashed the Phantom Fox Inferno, a storm of fiery wind that shattered the Revenant into ashes. Returning to reality. Naruko gasped as the spirit realm faded. She was back in the shrine, her body exhausted but alive. Kakashi stood nearby, watching. You've grown, he said quietly. The Phantom Flame is a powerful gift, and a heavy burden. Naruko nodded. I know. But I'm ready. Riku smiled. Then we prepare for what comes next. Side Mission 1, The Missing Scrolls of Ayame. Brief. Tsunade tasks Naruko and Riku with locating ancient scrolls written by Ayame, the legendary Phantom Clan guardian. These scrolls are rumored to contain lost techniques and secrets about the gate. The setup. Back in the village, Tsunade calls Naruko and Riku to her office. Tsunade-sama, Naruko bows. How can we help? There's a collection of scrolls missing from the Hokage archives. They were believed destroyed during the last Great War, but new intelligence suggests otherwise. They could hold clues to control the gate's power or protect the village. Riku crosses her arms. Where should we start? The ruins of an old Phantom Clan outpost, near the borders of the Land of Fire. Take Kakashi with you. His experience will be vital. Naruko grins, excited. Got it. The journey. The trio sets off, traveling through dense forests and rocky hills. Along the way, Naruko and Riku test their new skills, using their phantom flames and stealth tactics to avoid traps and wild animals. Challenges. They find signs of rival ninja groups hunting the same scrolls. They solve puzzles protecting the ruins, like matching chakra patterns and activating seals. They confront a group of rogue shinobi who have taken over the ruins as a hideout. Outcome. Naruko discovers an ancient scroll with a map to the Mirror Hall and a set of cryptic verses hinting at the gate's origins. But the scroll is damaged and incomplete. Kakashi warns, there's more to this than we thought. The Phantom Clan's history is deeper, and darker. Side Mission 2, The Phantom's Echo. Naruko hears rumors about a mysterious shadowy figure seen near the village at night, possibly a phantom or a ghost linked to her clan. Side Mission 3, Training with Yamato. To better control her chakra, Naruko is sent to train with Yamato, the wood style master, who helps her blend elemental chakra and balance the phantom flames. Side Mission 4, Protect the Festival. During a village festival celebrating the Hokage's legacy, an ambush by rogue ninja forces Naruko, Kakashi, and Riku to protect the civilians and uncover who's behind the attack. Side Mission 5, The Phantom's Mark. Naruko encounters a child with a mysterious phantom clan tattoo that reacts to her chakra. Helping the child uncovers a secret phantom cell living undercover in the Land of Fire. The air in the village was thick with tension. Ever since Naruko had unlocked the power of the gate, an invisible weight seemed to press down on her shoulders. The spiral seal on her palm pulsed faintly, a constant reminder that the ancient Phantom clan's legacy was no longer just a story but a living force coursing through her veins. Naruko stood outside the Hokage's office, waiting as Tsunade and Kakashi discussed something in hushed tones. When Tsunade finally looked up, her expression was grave but resolute. "There's no time to waste," she said. "The Phantom Circle has been active. We have intelligence that they're preparing something big, a strike aimed directly at the village, and more importantly, at you." Naruko's heart tightened. The Phantom Circle, a shadowy faction that had long been whispered about in secret scrolls, was the same group responsible for the revenants at the shrine. Their ambition to seize the gate's power threatened everything she loved. Kakashi stepped forward, his single visible eye sharp beneath his headband. "They're not just after power. They want to rewrite the future of the shinobi world using the gate's energy. If they succeed, the balance of all chakra will be broken." Naruko swallowed her fear. "Then I won't let that happen." Before nightfall, the village was on high alert. Shinobi took positions along the walls, and the gates were secured. The Phantom Circle moved with stealth and speed, slipping through shadows like ghosts. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the outskirts. The siege had begun. Naruko moved quickly with Kakashi and Riku, weaving through the chaos. Her phantom flame flared brightly, casting golden blue light that cut through the dark. She unleashed her wind-style Rasengan, now fused with the phantom flame, sending waves of fire twisting wind to repel the attackers. Despite their efforts, the enemy pressed forward relentlessly. Among them was the Phantom Circle's leader, a figure cloaked in black robes, his chakra corrupt and wild, distorting the air around him. His eyes gleamed with malice as he confronted Naruko directly. "You carry the gate's power, but you are not its master," he sneered. "Hand it over, and your village will be spared." Naruko's gaze hardened. "I'm the guardian of this power. You won't have it." The battle that followed was fierce and relentless. The leader's corrupted chakra clashed against Naruko's pure phantom flame, shaking the earth and splitting the sky with bursts of energy. Kakashi and Riku fought side by side, holding off the leader's lieutenants while Naruko focused on the final confrontation. As the fight wore on, Naruko felt the seal on her palm burn brighter than ever. The gate's true power awakened inside her, swirling like a tempest. She remembered the teachings from the spirit realm: balance, control, and courage. With a cry, she unleashed the Phantom Fox Inferno, a roaring storm of fiery wind that engulfed the leader. The corrupted chakra shrieked and fragmented, the darkness dissolving like smoke in the wind. The battlefield fell silent. With the enemy defeated, Naruko and her team moved to the hills of Shiba. There, beneath the earth, the ancient gate awaited. Together, they performed the sealing ritual, weaving their chakra in harmony. Naruko's hands glowed as the spiral seal pulsed, expanding outward until the gate's entrance was sealed once more, its dangerous power locked away for good. Back in the village, peace returned. Naruko was honored with the title of Guardian of the Gate, a protector of the balance between light and shadow, past and future. Though the gate was sealed, its power lived on within her. With Kakashi's guidance and Riku's knowledge, Naruko vowed to train the next generation, to ensure that no darkness would ever threaten the world again. As the sun rose over Konoha, Naruko stood atop the Hokage monument, feeling the warm breeze on her face and the spiral of the phantom flame glowing softly in her palm. This was her legacy, a story not just of power, but of hope. Dear YouTube family, that concludes today's content. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to support the channel. Thank you for your continued support. Warm regards. 6 Path Weeb.